Hi everyone. So I just want to introduce you to John, who I've had the pleasure of meeting this weekend at an event in Italy, and he has agreed to do a little interview with me. So John, just for everyone, what is your background?
I'm a cardiovascular perfusionist by profession.
Okay. And I know that it was difficult for you financially to go into that career, so could you just tell everyone who's watching how you managed to do that?
Sure. So I did grow up with a fairly poor family, and so the only way I could go to school really was through the military. So I initially went into the Army so I could get as much money for school as possible, at which point they told me I couldn't go into the medical field. They said that I needed to stay where I was, and so I chose to change from the Army to the Air Force, and the Air Force said, sure, we'll let you go to school. And so I finished up my schooling through the Air Force, and then the rest is history.
Okay. So you really wanted that profession?
I wanted it very badly.
Okay.
I was willing to do just about anything to get what my career goal.
Okay. So when you retired from your profession, were you comfortable?
Definitely.
So,
I was comfortable. We had a nice lifestyle for my wife and self, and I was doing other investing because I was allowed to do certain things. So I started investing. So we had a very comfortable life.
okay, excellent. And when did someone introduce you to essential oils?
I had a very good friend, a neighbor whom I highly respect, brought over a bottle of peppermint oil. My youngest son is autistic, and so he brought over a bottle of peppermint oil and said, you should try this oil on your son. And like most people, if you have an autistic child, you'll do anything to help them. Unfortunately, I have to admit I was a little bit proud, and so I took the bottle, I handed it to my wife, and I said, you try it. So she would actually be the one that was at fault if something went wrong.
And what happened?
It actually worked. I was highly surprised. Literally within half an hour or so, we could see things change with him and his tutor, because we had a tutor that came over and worked with him twice a week. And it was a marketable difference. You could actually see the difference.
Okay, so when you went in to do research on the essential oil, what did you work out was the similarity between medication and essential oils?
So what happened was, when the product worked, I was still a little bit skeptical. I thought maybe it was just a fluke. I mean, I honestly didn't believe in essential oils. As a matter of fact, I was extreme against essential oils. It was like snake oil to me. And so it kind of worked. I thought, this is crazy. I don't know why it was working. So I started doing a little bit of research. And what I found was essential oils, the thing that's working is the elements in the essential oil. And so I started comparing that to what I was used to in the medical field. And when we're looking at the chemicals or the constituents, the chemicals were exactly the same. So for example, linalool in lavender is the major constituent in lavender, and that's the element that's very soothing for the skin. But it's the same element that's in the creams. When we have a cream or an ointment that the doctor prescribes, the major element is linalool. And so then I started comparing, hey, it's the same. We're actually using the same element. So I started thinking, well, maybe there's more to these essential oils than just lavenders or the snake oil, if you will.
And with regards to a cheap essential oil and like a high quality like doTERRA, what way does that impact the linalool or the element?
It makes the world of difference. So once I discovered it was the element that was making the difference, I kept seeing conflicting reports. Like one study would say it was very effective, and then somebody else would say we didn't get the same result. And I was trying to figure out what that was or why, if both are checking the same product. And what it really boiled down to was not all oils are the same. To give you an example, let's go back to linalool. Lavender that's grown in Bulgaria and France, where doTERRA harvests their linalool, is about 52 to 58% linalool. But lavender that's grown, for example, in where I live in Utah, is less than 10% linalool.
Okay.
So it's that content that makes it valuable, and so that's why doTERRA runs a mass spectrometer on it, so we can tell exactly not only is there linalool in it, but how much. And if it doesn't meet that medicinal grade or medical grade, then they're not even going to use it. And that's really the difference between. And so CPTG is far beyond just it's organic. That's just one step of it. It's organic and it's pure. It doesn't have pesticides, but it also has to meet that medical grade standard of the elements, or it's no good.
Excellent. So when you found that out, you decided to actually share the essential oils in a way where you could educate more people.
I did. One of the things that we know in medicine is whenever you use a product chronically, so if you get a prescription and you're using it over and over and over, you're always going to develop a side effect. And that's one of the problems that in the medical profession they have to weigh the pros and cons. Is the side effect going to outweigh the problem or the concern that we're trying to overcome now? And over a long period of time, one side effect leads to another, which gives you another medication, which another side effect to another medication. And I wasn't finding that with essential oils. And so when you think about it, one of the oaths that a doctor or any medical professional for example, takes is to do no harm, at which point, you feel like you should become an evangelist or you should tell people about essential oils, because if my job is really to do no harm or to help somebody, then I'm going to give them the best advice I have, whether it's this or whether it's this. And so we have to make a choice. And so I decided I could help a lot more people with essential oils than I ever could in the operating room.
Wow. You've helped me. Just listening to you yesterday really helped me. And the last question, I know this is a hard one. Last October, because you had a successful doTERRA business which created residual income, it really was powerful for you.
It was. So I've been teaching classes for many years with doTERRA, and I always end all my classes with I had a mission, and my mission was to get essential oils in every home. That's always been my mission, even before doTERRA kind of adopted that as their mantra. But last October, I ended up having a second mission. And what had happened is I was actually teaching a class here in Italy in Milan, and I was flying home and I found out that my wife had had a stroke. And when I landed in Salt Lake City, I went directly to the hospital where I discovered it wasn't a stroke, that my wife had had a brain tumor. She had cancer. It was on the right motor cortex of her brain. And so we had her transferred. We took her up to the University of Utah where she could get the best care. Consequently, with surgery and the complications of surgery, it left the left side of her body paralyzed. And I will tell you, by the way, the essential oils have made a huge difference for her. She's not paralyzed. She's able to use her left side. Not perfect, but she's got function. But what I was able to do was I never left the hospital. I landed in Salt Lake. I went straight to the hospital. I was with her for 2 months in the hospital. And then when she had surgery, I was able to spend the next 8 months with her. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was able to spend the next 8 months with her and not have to leave her side. I could take care of her, and I didn't have to worry about whether the mortgage was paid. I didn't have to worry whether my kids had food. I didn't have to worry about any expenses, and it was because of the blessings that we receive from a doTERRA business. The residual income has made it so I can take care of my wife, and so that's what brought me to my second mission, and that second mission was freedom, financial freedom. And my goal now is to help every person I meet, if they choose that financial freedom, so they don't have to, if anything happens to one of their loved ones, so they don't have to worry about whether they're able to pay the bills or whether they're able to feed their children. I want them to have the knowledge that that residual income is there and that they will be taken care of. And so I make a commitment to people that I work with, is if they commit that they're going to move forward and they want to do this and they want that residual freedom or that financial freedom, I commit to them. So they say, I'm willing to do this, then I'm willing to commit to them. And so that's part of the reason I do what I do. I love the people, and I want them to have the same thing that I have. That financial responsibility that we all carry can be overcome simply by helping other people accomplish their goals. So.
And thank you so much.
Sure.
It was an absolute pleasure meeting you this weekend,
Yeah.
and I'm just so grateful that you were willing to share that for everyone to hear as well.
Thank you.
So everyone, this is John, and hopefully we'll get to talk another day and another topic as well.